people to join now, haven't we?
Hi, and welcome back to series 2 of Cuppa Tea with the Vet. And we have got Christabel Moseley of Twickenham Vets here to join us today. So thank you so much for joining us, Christabel. But firstly, I'm just going to interrupt because I had a complaint earlier, and I never get a complaint, but I had a complaint, so it's fine. To the person who moaned that behind I had a red box and the blue and the flower box mixed up, your OCD is now fixed. I've now dealt with it. Don't worry about it. The background is now in line and uniform. Okay, so complaints are listened to. It's all good. So, Christabel, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, hello. I'm Christabel Moseley. I qualified from Bristol Vet School in the year 2000. Brilliant year to graduate, and I started working in Richmond very soon afterwards. And basically went from there. I got put in charge of the branch surgery in Twickenham, which I then bought from my boss, and we've just grown it from one-man practice, one-woman practice. We've now got 5 vets working for us and a large team of over 20 people. And yeah, just I love the job. I've always wanted to be a veterinary, and just love what I do.
That's amazing. And and it's really nice to hear that backstory as well, because obviously, really you've been in the one practice and made it grow, and you've been in there since a little nipper. So the thing that's really nice to point out here is how you can, reach your goals from really your teenage years of being the Saturday girl, and just jumping into the vets and, immersing yourself in that vet life, and then, making friends with the vets, and then progressing your career from there. I mean, that's really quite amazing. And also, it's just really good motivation for young people to say, yes, I will go get my Saturday job. I will go and ingratiate myself with my vets, because that's where I want to be. And so I think that's a really lovely story. So
quite nice. The flip side as well, I've seen a lot of people see practice with me as we've got Aldergrave School just down the road from us, and we've had a lot of their students come and see practice, and they've gone on to then become vets. So we had one graduate a couple of years ago, one 3 years ago, I think, and we've got one that's going to be graduating this coming year. So we've watched them from when they were teenagers right the way through, and seeing practice and doing their extramural studies with us, and then progressing to becoming a vet. So we're hoping that one of them might come and work with us one day. But yeah, it's lovely to be able to give that back as well.
Yeah, exactly. You've had it go to you, and then you've passed it forwards, and that's really nice. And it's really lovely that you're able to see people's progress as well, and not just always see them as the student.
Yes.
You're not always the Saturday girl, and that's just amazing, and it's really commendable as well, because it's very easy to get your head stuck in a position with somebody and not recognise their achievements as they go. So
yeah,
well done.
It's nice watching them sort of grow and into themselves and into the job. It's lovely to be able to watch that.
Yeah, exactly. That's fabulous. So what do you like to do in your spare time?
That's a very good question. I don't get very much spare time. There's quite a few things. I've got 2 young daughters, so we do a lot of arts and crafts. I've always done a lot of arts and crafts, but recently during lockdown, got back into doing some silk painting. I love photography. I love traveling, which obviously there hasn't been much of this year, but I've travelled across a fair bit of Africa, done some of South America as well, including the Galapagos Islands, and wow. I'd love to do some more. We were due to go to Canada this year, which we've had to delay. Hopefully go next year. So yeah, just love going and seeing new places and experiencing new things.
That is very cool. Galapagos Islands, wow. That's just unbelievable. Did you see the turtles there?
The tortoise, yeah, we did a lot of we were, when we went to the Galapagos, we were on a boat, so we did an overland trip through Peru, Bolivia, and Ecuador, and then we finished off on an 8-day cruise around the Galapagos Islands, which was amazing. Did feel that we probably didn't have that much time in the islands because it's all very restricted, which is as it needs to be. But yeah, we didn't see them in their natural habitat, but we did see Lonesome George before he died. Yes, it's incredible. it's just incredible seeing the species from one island to the next and being able to piece together what Charles Darwin had done. Yeah, just very interesting.
That is amazing. I mean, that's an amazing man to be following and thinking about while you're there as well.
Yeah.
So that would be pretty awesome. Equally, Canada, I mean, wow, I would love to go on that train. Is that the plan, to go on that bonkers amazing train?
Not with kids. I'd love to when we're older, maybe when we retire, but my husband was actually in the process of emigrating to Canada when we met. So he'd spent a year, just before we met, we had spent a year in Vancouver. And absolutely loved it, and he's been saying ever since, I need to take you there. I was like, yeah, take me there. So we were actually going to go with the kids and with my parents, because they're getting older, and just wanted them to be able to experience Canada before it's too late. But obviously COVID has put a bit of a spanner in the works for everything. So we're hoping next year to go. And
I don't know that it's too late at any point to do Canada. I'm sure it's never too late.
No, whether the parents can manage it, and what we've got planned, because we've got 3.5 weeks, I think, of just going around and doing a lot of the national parks and glaciers and all that kind of stuff. So yeah,
there's a lot there, isn't there?
It's a pretty full on itinerary. Yeah. So.
That's lovely about the arts and crafts, by the way. I'm a massive eco fan, so that's really nice. So well done.
In our house.
It's great. It's great fun. I find that it really helps your mind and your imagination just flows. Yeah.
And especially the kids as well. Yeah. No, they love it. So both girls, so they're very much into that artsy crafty thing.
That's lovely. So what made you decide to become a vet?
Well, apparently I was 3 years old when I first said that I wanted to be a vet. That's what my mum says. I'm not sure how a 3-year-old could know, because we didn't have any animals at the time. It wasn't like I'd been to the vets, but that's what I wanted to do. And just sort of grew from there. I was very fortunate when I was growing up to live next to Windsor Safari Park. My parents still live in the same road. It's now Legoland, so my kids are enjoying that. But the best thing was my mum worked in the accounts department there, and for quite a few years when I was in sort of between the ages of about 10 and 14. And so I got to see practice there, or do work experience there, and I helped to hand rear 2 lion cubs and a little chimpanzee, and just see all the reptiles. I worked in different places, but mainly in the sort of exotics house, and the children's zoo and education centre. So it was amazing, and that obviously sparked quite a lot, and especially my interest in the African animals as well.
That's really cool. I have to say, I didn't know that Legoland used to be a safari park.
Yeah, it used to be Windsor Safari Park. Yeah. It's,
wow, learn something new every day. That's very cool. That is very cool. And by the way, to go all spiritual on it, clearly you were right at 3, regardless of where you got it from. It was obviously meant to be, because you are now 1.
Yeah,
I spoke to an elephant vet a while ago, and she said something similar. She said something like, I think she said her mum always said that she was going to be an elephant vet, and she was all like, no. And then she ended up being an elephant vet, and then she was like, guess she was right. But it wasn't that she was pushed that way. It was literally how her fate just ended up. And so because she was in America for a long time, so I was like, wow, that's just so completely random. So I just think, fate just does it. You were just so you were a great believer in fate.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what's your favorite part of being a vet?
Good question. I think I've always loved working with people and animals. So the fact that the job does entail working with both, although at the moment we're not allowing clients in because of the lockdown again, so that's limited a bit, and we're missing that. But I love the fact that we're working with both, and in helping the animals, we're then also helping people, especially when you think about elderly clients with their pets, and they're their only companion and the only sort of the only living thing that they have around, and contact they have with another living being sometimes during the day. So we've got a responsibility to keep them alive and happy and with a good quality of life as long as possible. I do love the rehabilitation side of things. I've been doing acupuncture since I graduated. Excuse me. And I love watching the animals. They come in ill, you work out what's going on, and then you can send them home better. And with the acupuncture especially, I've had a lot of dogs over the years, and cats who come in to be put to sleep, and the owners really don't want to make that choice, and we've tried acupuncture, and the dog, although it might not be completely sound, comes in the next week with a sort of spring in its step and bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and clearly has a different outlook on life than it did the week before. So I love that progression and being able to watch them do that.
You clearly have a lot of passion for a lot of aspects of your work, which is absolutely wonderful. And I couldn't agree with you more. It's absolutely amazing. And definitely to touch on the point of, it's not just about the animals, because often people think, oh, I want to be a vet because I love animals. But actually dealing with the owners is such a humongous part of this, and you can't avoid that part of it, and nor should you want to, because you are a massive support to them, aren't you? And you're at their most vulnerable moment, when they're scared of their most precious one is sick and ill and they don't know what's going on. You're that one giving them that peace of mind, and sometimes scaring them. So it's how you deliver, and so all those things are all really, really important. So that's fantastic. And of course, obviously, it is the most rewarding thing in the world when you get to turn something's life around, and then so big reward factor every day. So
I do also obviously like the cuddling of the kittens and the puppies. I think everyone does, and we've had rather a lot of those over lockdown. But it's I think the watching, especially the elderly patients, and being able to improve their quality of life, I think is a massive plus.
Definitely. Oldies are my favourites. Definitely. It's fabulous, isn't it? So Sean has very kindly jumped on and said, Christabel is a fantastic and caring vet. So thank you, Sean. It's really nice to share that. I know. I thought it's going to brighten Christabel's day. There we go. We'll pop that one up on screen. There you go. Thank you so much for getting involved. So and for exactly on point with this, just for those clients who are your wonderful fans, just to make sure they get your Christmas present right, what is your favourite snack?
It really depends what mood I'm in. I do love chocolate. Who doesn't? And but it depends what mood I'm in. Sometimes fruit or cheese will do just as well, but it depends. Yeah.
She likes a variety, guys. There you go. She's all set for Christmas. So Noreen, thank you so much for getting on board as well. And Noreen has also said, I second that. So you have got plenty of fans out there, Christabel, which is amazing. So what pets have you got?
We're down to one cat at the moment. So at one point we did have 4 cats and a dog, and we lived above the surgery. And one by one they've got old and passed on. We've got an 18-and-a-half-year-old cat who is rather rickety. I feel myself apologising when people come around and just sort of saying, please don't judge me by the state of my cat, but he's happy with life. He loves the garden. He loves his cuddles. You just have to look at him. He starts purring. He's so as long as he's like that, we'll keep going, keep plodding on.
Absolutely. And only you know to make those judgments. And my boy, I've got 2, and one of them is like literally going to be 15 in a few weeks, and I'm like, he's a big border collie as well, so I'm just like, oh my god, I can't believe he's only 15. And just think, oh wow, and when he gets all happy and excited and starts playing, and you're like, yes, good for you.
Does he let you do physio on him?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I definitely think that's been his saving grace. I'm literally, honestly, I can't tell you what his plan's like, but it's very, very good, and I'm very, very proud. So it's but it's a team, it's a team effort of all of his care to make him get this far, and I'm just thrilled that he has got this far, and he's had acupuncture in the past too. He kind of decided he didn't like it in the end, which is why we kind of gave up. But we did do it for about must have been a good 6 months, and I was definitely thrilled I did it. But then when he sort of turned into a crocodile, we decided let's find other modalities, and so I just struck more with the physio, and then that was fine. But it's absolutely, it takes a team effort when you get to a certain age, and I think it does in people too. I think there needs to be much more effort with people, because I really feel sorry for people.
no, definitely.
So I do love this question. What still grosses you out as a vet? Because something must gross you out.
Absolutely. Eyes. So normal eye conjunctivitis doesn't bother me, even the odd ulcer, but if there's a penetration injury to the eye, or the eye's hanging out after, say, a car accident or something, it's that's still, I just find eyes incredibly personal, and you just think, give me any amount of pus and anal gland juice, anything, that doesn't bother me at all. But yeah, eyes are. Yeah.
No, I completely agree. They are literally the thing that turns my stomach the most. I mean, there's a few things, but eyeballs hanging out. Oh, that's
just nasty, isn't it? But also fractures. I'm not a great fan of fractures. Just the feel of a fresh fracture where you get that grating of the bone. It's just horrible. Yeah. Those are probably the two things that I dislike the most.
No, I honestly, I completely agree. And I remember one time this poor traumatized owner came once. This is back when I was nursing, and she came with her puppy hanging over her shoulder. So obviously, didn't know anything was going on, but she looked completely sheet white. And I was like, "Are you okay?" And she just went, "Something's happened to my puppy." He'd fallen downstairs. I didn't know what had happened, and she just turned her whole self around, and then this puppy was there with the eye hanging out, and I was like, "Okay then." And I just took the puppy, went out the back, and we just did what we needed to do. And the puppy was fine, by the way. The puppy was absolutely fine. She got it straight down to the vets in time, and I think we even saved the eye. But when you tell these stories, you're always having a flashback in your own mind when you've seen it, aren't you? You're never. Yeah. So yeah, I completely sympathise. Yeah. Eyeballs are literally the worst. So yeah, well, fair enough. But well done getting through and still being a vet. So, what would your dream achievement be if time was no object, and probably no money is no object?
Probably to become a wildlife vet, so somewhere in Africa, and go and work with the wildlife out there, which is probably something I'll try and volunteer to do when I'm retired, when I've got a bit of time on my hands. Although everyone I know that who's retired says they don't have any time, but something like that. I asked my head nurse this, and she said that maybe I should say something like I was clearing the cellar at the surgery or something. That's not my dream achievement. That's something that I plan to do when I have lots of time, but that would not be that would be embarrassing if that was. No, absolutely. But yeah, probably something like that. Yeah.
No, that is a great achievement, absolutely. And to be honest, it's quite doable. So you might actually be able to achieve that one.
Yeah, it is. Yes.
It's a realistic goal there. Well done.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you do any sport, but if you did, if you could be amazing at any sport, what would it be?
Well, I haven't got a great back, so I think probably swimming. I'd love to get better at my swimming. Let's put it that way. I'm a water baby anyway, I think swimming definitely. Although I did partake in an old girls netball match at my old school in Chertsey last year. Meant to do it again this year, but it's with COVID, it was meant to happen just after lockdown started. And I always used to be goal shooter. And what amazed me was we almost had the whole A team from when I was at school, and plus a few extras, and we hadn't played together in 25 years or something. I hadn't even touched a netball in most of that time, and it just all came back, and we were just gelled as a team, and especially the goal attack, and I just passing the ball as if we hadn't been away from it, and that was amazing. So on the back of that, and knowing that I was going to do it again, or thinking that I was going to do it again this year, I did get a netball and a ball, so the goal net and the ball, and my daughter, I often shoot a few goals, which is quite good fun. Yeah,
that's very cool. That is very cool. I think I used to play wing attack. Oh my god, that's really like.
I didn't have to do too much running being goal shooter. That was good. That's good.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. And what about synchronized swimming if you're a water baby? I think it looks really cool. I know I'd be terrible at it.
But never got it. I'm sorry. I've never really understood it, but yeah, I mean, it's great when you see professionals do it, but no.
I'm not saying I understand it. I just think it looks funny, and
it does look very funny. You're right.
You should do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, that's fair enough. I would give it a go, but I'd have to have the nose plug and the ear plug.
That's the problem. I don't think I'd cope with all of that. I'd rather just swim, I think.
That's fair enough. That is fair enough. So if you could have a Facebook live chat with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be?
There's a few actually.
Cool, go for it.
Probably Sir David Attenborough, because I admire everything that he's done, and his life has been so interesting. I've read one of his autobiographies, and it's just incredible. And Charles Darwin. But then I'd also quite fancy talking with someone, well, it's not one person, but the Monty Python team or someone like that, just, on a comedy level. So again, it would depend what kind of mood I was in. I think David Attenborough has always been an inspiration, and Monty Python has just always tickled my fancy. I absolutely love them. So
that's fair enough, and that's a new one. We haven't heard the Monty Python one before, so that's very cool. And I have to say, I didn't really even know much about him. I heard of it, but my husband introduced me, so yes, I totally get it now. Very, very simple, fun comedy. So yeah, that is very cool. They're very clever, very clever.
Very clever, yeah.
So yeah, no, that would be good. And of course, David Attenborough, and Darwin. God, they're just such two incredibly influential people. But though that said, I went to the Charles Darwin's house and did the museum. It was very eye-opening, and he had a lot of friends that I didn't know about, and a lot of other people that were all doing similar ideas at the same time. So that was very interesting, because of course you only know about Charles Darwin, you don't know about all the other people involved. That was very eye-opening. So you should go there, go to his house. It's a very cool house, very nice place.
I'll look that up. Look, time's gone.
It's not that far away, so I can't think where it is now, but it was on the National Trust or something. Anyway, it's a very nice place. So tell us something that people may not know about you.
When I was on my year off, I made a list of, not quite a bucket list, but like a list of things that I really wanted to do. And I've done most of them. So there was, I wanted to do the bungee jump off It Falls, because at the time it was the highest in the world. It is no longer, but I think it's 111 metres. So at the time that was the highest. And I did that in my second year at uni. I did another overland trip through Africa. So I went on an overland trip in my year off between school and uni, and then again in my second year to finish off the trip that I really wanted to do but couldn't afford in my year off. And then also whitewater rafting down the Zambezi, which I also did that year. Cage diving with the great white, which I also did that year. Going to see the mountain gorillas, which I did in my year off. And then I came back and said to my mum I'd take her one year. So she kind of subtly has reminded me over the years, and I finally got round to doing it. I took her a couple of years ago to Uganda. So the first time I went to see them on the Zaire side, or was Zaire at the time, and a couple of years ago we went to Uganda, and that was incredible. I'd forgotten how hard the climb is to go up and see them though, because it's literally like that. And in very sweltering conditions, but well worth it. And what were the other things? Hot air balloon flight, which we did a few years ago in South Africa, and also skydiving. That's the only one I haven't been able to do. I did all the training when I was at university my first year, but it was always either too busy or too windy when I went down to the drop zone in Devon, and so I never actually got round to doing it. And since then I've been diagnosed with back condition, so it's probably not a very wise thing to do now. But yeah, so those were the things that I had on my list. Wow. So firstly, because of the way your list was going, when you said cage, the first thing I thought was she's going to say she did cage fighting. Oh my God. But you did go in with great whites, so not much difference. So that's one thing. And secondly, you're a proper adrenaline junkie. Yeah, I never thought I was, but I think once you get a taste for it. But what was interesting, we went to South Africa a couple of years ago, and we saw, in fact, last year, and my best friend lives in Durban, so we spent a bit of time with them, did some safaris, and then my parents were with us as well. We went down the garden route and down to Cape Town, and we got to Table Mountain at somewhere. That was the one place my dad really always wanted to go, because his grandmother had been there. She must have been one of the first to go up in the cable car. And anyway, we got to the top, and my husband had done the abseiling off Table Mountain probably in 2003 or something like that. And we got to the top and he said, oh, they're still doing it. So he went and inquired, and then he said to the girls, bearing in mind that Antonia was, I think, 4 at the time, and Isabelle was 8. And he said, so do you want to go abseiling down Table Mountain? And Antonia went, yep. He said, do you know what abseiling is? She went, nope. And fair play to them, they both did it. Obviously in a tandem, but both of the girls did it, and Kevin did it again, and yeah, they absolutely loved it. So I think now we've instilled the adrenaline rush in them as well. They're probably going to want to do everything that we've done as well, which is going to be very scary as a parent, I think.
Yeah, that's the flip side of it, and I have to say I completely agree with that, because so I did a bungee jump last year or the year before, and my daughter, I didn't know I was going to go and do it, but it turns out you should never go and visit a friend who works for a bungee jump company, because when you turn up for lunch, that's what happens. Exactly. So obviously I wanted my daughter and my husband to be able to see, but there was no way they could. So I actually did it on Facebook Live, because I thought, well, why not? Let everybody see it. So they did it, and obviously my daughter was sat at home watching, and she was like, I want to do it. I want to do it. Well, my friend's answer was, oh, you can do it when you're like 14. I was like, don't tell her that. That's not that long way.
Exactly.
So yeah, so she's up for that. And but then on the flip side, I think, well, I had fun doing all these things. So I abseiled down the W.H. Smith's building in Swindon many years ago, but it was peeing down with rain. So really what I did was drift around like a spider in the wind until I got to the bottom. And that was pretty scary, because the building was really shiny. It was like one of these metal coated things. So there was nothing to grip onto. It was just, I literally might as well just been dangled down. Oh yeah, but that's really good fun though. So well done. I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed. So I was going to say, what's the most spontaneous thing you've ever done? But I feel like you've just listed tons of them.
I think, to be honest, we just with the way our lives run, we don't really get to plan things much, because you know, either work or something else gets in the way. So a lot of what we do is sort of last minute decisions. So from a spontaneity point of view, I think probably a lot of my life is fairly spontaneous. Possibly the most spontaneous thing I've done is when we went to look for a new car, must have been about 2 years ago now. And my husband really wanted to get a Lexus, or have a look at the Lexuses, and so he booked an appointment. We went to the showroom, and we left having bought one. And he just sort of looked at, he was in complete shock that he didn't expect me to sort of even like them or make a decision. He did, you know, it was for him was just like, wow, have we really just done that? And I was like, yeah, we've worked hard for this. We're going to get something that we both want. So yeah, so wow. that was fairly spontaneous.
That's amazing. That's very spontaneous. That's yeah. Although I must admit, I'm always surprised at how quickly you have to decide a house. It's like the most expensive thing you'll ever buy. But you decide in 15 minutes, don't you? You have one viewing, and then that's it. You've got to make a decision. Yeah. So wow, blimey, that's amazing. And is it nice to drive? Are you happy with your purchase?
It's lovely to drive. I don't get to drive that much because my husband drives it, so I'm still in my old S-Max, which is fine because that's actually better for house visits and stuff. So but it is nice to drive. It's a bit of it's big. It's a hybrid, so which is why we wanted to get something that's more eco-friendly, because we moved into our new house, which is very eco-friendly. What we've done with it, we've got air source heat pumps and heat recovery systems, whatever, and solar panels. So we wanted the car to kind of reflect that side of things, but couldn't quite go for a full electric. So we decided to go for hybrids, but it's just massive to park. So So when it comes to when the hire purchase agreement is sort of at its end and we can exchange, I think we're going to downsize it a little bit. Yeah,
that's interesting. So when I think Lexus, I think, oh my god, this amazing sports car, and then I was about to say, you have to take it around Brands Hatch, but obviously not.
It's a 7-seater, but it's not very comfortable, a 7 seats. So I think we're just going to just downsize to a normal, ordinary, family car. Because the S-Max is a 7-seater as well. We figured that we're going to be ferrying kids here and there and everywhere. So, but obviously not much of that has happened in the last few months. So
I was going to say ever the practical, but you can't really be labelled practical with all your crazy like bungee jumping and all that stuff. I think you have to just you roll with your decision making. That's all good. So yeah, I'm definitely loving the eco decisions. So so tell me about your practice. You know, what lovely staff have you got there? What amazing, you know, tell me about it.
We've got a fantastic team. I'm very proud of them, especially how they've dealt with the last few months, because it has been tough on everyone and we've been incredibly busy. So at the moment we have 5 vets. I don't do as much clinical stuff, clinical work, but we're just having a refurb done. So I'm hoping to do a bit more of that and a bit more acupuncture and sort of rehab stuff. We've got an amazing head nurse, Sarah, who's sort of heads the nursing team. At the moment, we have got one other full-time RVN, and we've got another one starting in January. And we've got 2 part-time RVNs and 3 student nurses, and then a great reception team as well.
That's lovely.
Some of my staff, like Donna, one of our receptionists, she's been with me now almost 15 years. On the 1st of December, it'll be 15 years. Wendy's been with us, one of our vets, has been with us since 2008. So yeah, we've got a few that have been there quite a few years. So yeah.
Oh, that's lovely. It's really nice actually for clients as well when they get to see the same faces a lot. So yeah. That's really lovely. So obviously you've alluded to the fact that you're quite pro rehab, which I'm obviously thrilled to hear. So my next question was going to be, you know, what do you love about physio?
I just love the fact that, you know, the multimodal approach to anything musculoskeletal. So I think it's got to be a multimodal approach. It's something that I think it took the profession a long time to realise, that it's not just a case of giving pills and hoping for the best. You've got to try all the different modalities, and the acupuncture obviously comes into that. Hydrotherapy does, physiotherapy, nutrition, everything, you know, and just having that multimodal approach, you've got all the facets coming together, and that gives the animal the best chance and the best quality of life.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So well done, Christabel. Thank you. I'm always thrilled to hear when a vet is so on board with physio, and, you know, thinking outside the box as well, you know, because like you say, it's a team effort, team approach, and you know, and that gets the best results, doesn't it? So thank you. That's awesome. So I also want to know, what's the weirdest dream you've ever had?
I don't really remember my dreams. I think I probably do dream, because I wake up sometimes in the middle of them, but then they've gone. I have no idea what's happened. I know when I was younger, I liked dreaming about flying, but I think that's pretty much every kid's dream, isn't it, being able to fly? But I don't remember them. I seriously don't remember them. So I'm afraid that's a bit of a boring answer, but
no, not at all. I mean, it's also really interesting. My husband says exactly the same, and turns out it's a proper label for your brain when they does that. So you've got a thing. I don't know what the thing is, but we've got a thing. So that is totally fair enough. And to be honest, it means you're not bugged. You're not one of these people that has to sit and mull over, why did I dream that? Because that's weird, and that's got to mean something. So So no, that's fair enough. So I mean, I feel like you might have covered this already, but if you could treat any zoo animal, what would it be?
Probably one of the large cats, I think lions, probably lion or tiger, and or a mountain gorilla. I just love them.
That's very cool.
To be honest, I love all the apes, the primates, the apes. I think they are fascinating to watch, just because of, you know, how they figure things out and how they use their hands and their feet, everything. It fascinates me. So any of those, really.
It is amazing watching them, isn't it? Because I often feel quite a connection. Like when if I watch them, I often think, oh God, that was our history. Do you know what I mean? That was where we came from. And that's such a weird thought, isn't it? Like in your mind. And so I end up just sitting staring at them for ages, just thinking, you know, I know that they wouldn't one day be humans. I know that that's not how it works. But what I mean is just like, we're ultimately from that type of body and, you know, movement and thought process. And it's just fascinating, isn't it? So it's definitely amazing. That is very cool. And so what's been the most memorable part of your career so far?
Apart from graduating and that sort of feeling of relief, I think, and elation.
You remember graduation, do you?
Yeah, I do. I remember all of us gathering outside the building where the results were being posted, and that sort of feeling of trepidation. Did I pass or didn't I? And just that pure relief and elation when you find out that you did and that all your friends did as well. Yeah, that was pretty cool. And then probably buying the surgery from my boss and building it up to what it is. So we bought it in the January of, well, I bought it in January of 2008, and then we moved the premises to 3 doors down into a much bigger building by August 2008, and that was a massive undertaking because we've gone from a very, very small building that I'm sure Sean will remember, actually, because I saw him there for the first time at that building, and we moved into the bigger building 3 doors down, and it was a big project for everyone involved to get it ready in the time we had. My dad was there pretty much every day for for 8 months. I had my best friend's brother helping sort of project manage it for me, and my sister was there in the evenings and the weekends, as was my mum, and Kevin, my husband. We weren't married at the time, but he'd do his full day's work at where he was working, and then come and don a paintbrush in the evening, and he absolutely hates DIY. So it was it was a big project, and just getting that all up and running and being able to build it into the practice it is today, I think is that's probably just that whole sort of process. Yeah.
Well, I've learned 2 things there. One, I need to slow my head down, because when you said January, I thought sales. But you put January sales. And secondly, do you know what's really lovely is hearing how much your family is clearly involved with everything. Yes. You've got a really supportive family. I mean, traveling with your parents, and they're helping you, and that's really lovely. So yeah, well done. And Sean has also jumped on and said, yes, you've come such a long way. So obviously your fans are noticing and they recognize it, so that's really important. So so thank you for that, John, really appreciated. So obviously it's Crimbo coming up, and I've taken loads of your time up and had an amazing time talking to you. So I would really love for you to give us your top tip for getting through Christmas with your pets.
Okay, so I think probably number 1 top tip would be hide the chocolates and the mince pies and fruit cakes and anything that contains grapes or raisins or chocolate away from your pets, and just be careful of the Christmas decorations as well, things like tinsel or especially ribbons, the long thin things that could become long thin foreign bodies. We want to avoid those, because I'm sure no one wants to have an emergency trip to the vets over Christmas, and just enjoy each other's company, I think.
Definitely, those are some amazing tips. And yeah, I used to be an emergency and critical care nurse, and I can't tell you what Christmas and Easter was like. Know anyway. And it's pretty
in there, but it's not the chocolate you've eaten; it's the ones that you've made the animals vomit up. It's lovely, isn't it?
It's a special thing. It's a special thing. But it's also, it always amazes me what dogs can swallow, and cats. I mean, like needle and thread. I'm like, how? Wow. And then I've had a whole slipper vomited up before in front of me. That's not even a Christmas thing.
It's incredible. But then I've got to say, the day before I went to South America, so my husband and I went on a trip around South America before I bought the surgery, last sort of ditch attempt at doing some proper travelling, and literally the day before we left, I caught Munchkin, our cat, in the road. We weren't living where we are now, but in the road, eating one of the old cassette tapes, and he's eating the tape from it. So naturally, I grabbed him, and I think I probably got about a metre and a bit of tape out before it snapped, and I just thought, oh no, I'm about to leave him in the care of my neighbour, who was amazing and had agreed to feed all 4 cats for the 7 weeks that we were away for. I thought, what's going to happen? He's going to have a long intersection or something because of this long foreign body. But he was fine. It must have just come out the other end.
So, I mean, a lot does, doesn't it? But obviously some doesn't. And so, because I don't believe anyone hasn't gone through this, because dogs are crazy and animals do silly things. And I found things in my dog's poop at the other end. You think, when did that happen? Oh my God.
One of my friends who's a doctor, she's one of my school friends, she has a dog who is not very good at the vets, let's put this out. I think it took 4 of us to pin him down to do a rabies jab so she could go travelling with him. He's not a very good boy at the vets, let's put it that way. And I got a phone, I think a text message from her last year saying that he had eaten a whole Welsh cake. What should she do? And so I said, quickly make him vomit. That's really bad. It could kill him. It could put him in renal failure, blah, blah, blah. And he's not the type of dog that you can take to the vets and put on a drip. So to which she responded, well, it was 6 hours ago that he ate it. And I'm like, why are you only texting me now? And I said, there's no point then. You're just going to have to risk it, because you can't take, no one's going to be able to get him on a drip. So there's no point even taking him to the vets. I said, you're just going to have to hope he's not one of the ones that reacts badly to raisins. And the next day I got a text message saying, FYI, Pip's just vomited up the entire Welsh cake. And I was like, what? Because I'd said to him, normally stomach emptying happens after 2 hours, but I think it must have just sat in his stomach like a lump of concrete, and the next day his body just expelled it. So, and he was fine.
Wow, lucky.
So, not all of them do react, but the problem is we don't know which ones do.
Yeah, no, exactly. Definitely not to be messed with.
And then and also if someone comes around with the presents, it's probably, and you put it under the tree, just make sure it's not chocolates before you do that, because I've had a lot of dogs that have raided the Christmas presents under the tree, and the owners hadn't realized that it was a box of chocolates and had left it under there for the dog to get, which is devastating when that happens.
Absolutely. And also you've got to be careful with some of these products that are Lush, for example. I bought some Lush shaving foam cream stuff for one of my uncles, and I didn't know that. Obviously it was just a gift of face cream. I didn't think it was edible, but it turns out the cat thought it was. They managed to open it and nibble it. I mean, only licked a bit, but obviously it smelled amazing. So I was like, oh my god, you've got to be so careful. And my poor friend's birthday, so she's just had a load of cards delivered, and they've all come through the door. Dogs ate the post straight away. I said, I hope it didn't get any money. So it's they're a nightmare. But more to the point, I also liked your last point as well, to just try and enjoy it, especially this year with everything going on. It's really important to just try and raise a glass of whatever you want and just have some fun and just chill. So I think it's so important. We've decided we're going to have a mini Christmas every Sunday up until Christmas. Brilliant. And then have a big shenanigan on actual Christmas. So we're going to see how the waistline goes. But it'll be fun.
Excellent.
Anyway, thank you so much, Christabel. It's been really wonderful getting to know you, and I've really enjoyed our chat. It's been really wonderful. You're an amazing person with an amazing life, an amazing story to tell, and an amazing practice. And I wish you all the luck. And thank you so much for coming on here. And thank you to our amazing audience for coming on and sharing your love with Christabel. It's really important, because our vets love to hear how much they're loved, and it really is great. So thank you very much. And
thank you. All the best. Take care.